Welcome back to the Quiksilver Pro. Heat 8 of round 1 is going to hit the lineup now. The 11-time world champ Kelly Slater in the red. Matt Wilkinson will be surfing in the blue. And one of the most exciting rookies on the tour this year, Conner Coffin.
Physios and seeing all kinds of people almost every single day, so a lot of work on his body.
Great place to rest the body, Piahi. Also the Eddy. It's been amazing watching Kelly tackle some of the biggest waves ever ridden in recent weeks. But right now we're watching him here at Snapper Rocks and loving the show as he drives through to the inside and just throws his board vertically, looking really sharp at this point. And he finishes with a trademark slash on the inside.
Wow.
Well, here goes Matt Wilkinson now. That wave just a little smaller, didn't make the length through to the inside. And here we go, Conner Coffin just has a look at that one before kicking out. He wants to get priority out there at the takeoff zone, but a great start to the heat for Kelly.
Yeah, Conner let that wave go, and it looked like it actually reformed on the inside. So let's see if he can kind of get rid of that mistake here. He's got himself a wide-looking wave here, and it's going to reform.
Well, big first section and a huge turn to go with it. And Conner just a nice floating re-entry. And now he finds some nice green wall to dig into. And there's some of that foundation that Ross was talking about, that power, clean rail game, a lot of style from this Californian as he swings into that last section. And that is a good answer to Kelly's first ride.
Yeah, strong surfer right there. Just 22 years old, but a huge throwback. This guy, you can tell he appreciates, he's riding a quad. And I can even tell you some of the fins in that quad setup are not normal at all. So very futuristic board from Kelly, but he was absolutely flying on that thing. And there's that backhand whip from Wilco. That guy leans into 2 or 3 of those. It is going to be nothing but short of an excellent score.
He just murders people with that backhand, Matt Wilkinson. But this piece of equipment is looking super lively under Kelly's feet.
And that's the key, you know, that word you use, lively. I think that's what he's looking for, especially with the design, the theory behind a banana board, that continuous rocker, there's no break. So it really enables you to fit into that natural curve into the wave. There's going to be no hiccup. That's why we've seen some of the best surfing ever throughout the early 90s from Shane Herring with that beautiful hack. Some of the strongest carves we've seen in the history of surfing were done from Shane Herring, and Kelly was really inspired by that. And that's why he brought that design back. And speaking of hacking, this kid right here is just so strong. And he even let the fins free after that hack right there. That was gross. That thing was ridiculously strong right there. And then here's just a little tribute to the new school, because he is only 22 and hucks the fins right there to finish. So that should be the best score, I'm thinking.
Love it. He was such a man-child as a junior, Conner Coffin. I swear he had a hairy chest at 13. I saw him competing here in some junior events on the point breaks around the Gold Coast, and he had that power base back then. And he's since gone on to refine it. He's done a lot of work with Brad Gerlach, who had a lot of attention to good rail work. And here goes Conner, swinging on the inside now. Kid has some tricks as well, but he goes to that rail. Reliable back footer. Wow. Gets the drift on the second turn, but doesn't ride out the maneuver. If you want to see a little bit of quality free surfing of Conner, you've got to look up.
So just very unique for someone that young to have that foundation that quick.
Matt Wilkinson up now. Has had one beautiful backhand snap already in this heat. And he gives us another on this ride. He's already taken out a QS 6000 this year down at Newcastle and looks to be in career best form.
We talked a lot about it last year throughout the second half, especially working with Glenn Microhall. He's got a new act. You know, we talk about John, how he's trying to kind of inject that into his career this year, working out, exercising, trying to be more serious. And, you know, it definitely worked for Wilco. Watch this maneuver right here, nice flow. Right when his face gets clean, it's going to allow him to light it up. bang right there. So that's the canvas that these pro surfers want. They really want that big, blank, clean wall with not a lot of wrinkles in it. That's when they can throw down any maneuver they want. They can get really creative. But Wilco, he is 9 out of 10 times going to rely on that vicious backhand whip.
And I feel like I still have a lot to show. I feel like I'm still improving, so I think that's a good sign. And yeah, hopefully my 10th year, hopefully I get a few 10s this year.
And obviously we're seeing the biggest rookie class that we've seen in a long time. Who are some of the guys that you're really going to watch out for this year?
Oh man, oh, they're all so good. I mean, you know, from the first, you know, world champ to the last on the ranking. I mean, I wouldn't want any of them I would rather any of them in the heat. They're all so good. That's the level of surfing nowadays is incredible. So just gotta concentrate on yourself, try to do your best, concentrate on your board, and not put too much pressure, and just kind of stay relaxed and surf.
All right, Jeremy, we'll see you in round 3. Back up to you, Ron.
Thank you, Rosie. I like that from Jeremy, and it's a big nod to the class of 2016. There is so much talent from the number 1 right through to the back end of the ratings, including all those CT rookies. But Jeremy, he has gotten his surfing to another level. Previously, his best finish was an 8th. That actually came in his rookie year when he was just a micro grommet. But he's back to that position on the ratings as we see a replay of Kelly's wave ridden during that interview.
You can see just really excited about that carve that he can throw in there. He can fit that surfboard in the tightest of little nooks on that wave. I think the only danger with riding a board like this is you can't stand still. You have to keep that board moving. You've got to keep it rail working. You know, the boards that are flatter can plane and you can kind of cruise. With those boards, you really got to stay busy.
And they're going to give us a bit of a run through of Kelly's ride so far. We'll call this one first as Kelly generates some speed. This one's going to get away from him. We'll throw it down to Pete.
Ronnie here with B. Dervish. Always an honor to have you.
I think that's what he thrives on.
I mean, at Ross, you were saying that you know that he's riding a quad, he's riding this really rockered out board, which, you know, generally you wouldn't say that Snapper would be really good with having so much rocker, but Kelly somehow makes it happen.
Yeah, you know, I think this is just enough for him, for that board to work in terms of the scoop in the wave. You know, that kind of rocker is going to be awesome if the waves are really hollow, where a lot of guys are getting cramped and kind of handcuffed. Kelly can actually do a big old arc because of all that rocker. So this is borderline. I was actually interested if he was actually going to ride it today, but yeah, I mean, it's there. He's
and here he is. I mean, and Bede, I mean, what do you like about Kelly surfing, especially now in this heat right here?
Yeah, you can see the rocker in that board, you know, and he's getting so square on his bottom turns. But when the wave does go flat a little bit like that, it's not working. So he's got to look for those sucky insiders where he can really square up his turn.
They're tall and they're really stiff on the outside. It's almost like they have a stem. So as you said, Bede, he's just always searching.
Oh, totally, you know, and that's what, he's just catching waves now. He's probably just trying that board out while he's waiting for a good one. He doesn't have priority, so he'll just keep catching waves under these guys in this heat and keep him guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think. I mean, he's probably hasn't even had a free surf here yet at Snapper. Oh man, well, good stuff. We enjoy it. We're going to sit back here and watch this heat.
How do you find making the transition from surfing the Hawaiian winter to surfing sand bottom beaches around Australia, as we see Kelly taking off here?
I think for Kelly, you know, and for anyone on tour, switching from those big heavy waves, especially they just surf the Eddie Cow and giant waves, it's something, it's a little switch in your brain. You have to convert over to the small wave. It's a different type of creativity, but it's so much fun. All of a sudden you see what Felipe's doing on a wave and you're like, holy moly, this is what makes surfing so great. So you look at Ross Clark-Jones free fall on a 50-footer and then you say Felipe do a reverse, it's just as cool.
Well, here we go, Matt Wilkinson. Just unloads on that first section, doesn't ride out of the manoeuvre. Do you search, though, for or struggle to find the power from the wave to generate the kind of speed to let go of the moves that you want to do when you get back into the small surf?
You know, that's cool, but the first event, you can just kind of set the scene for everyone, and it's definitely a feather in your cap.
Well, Slater just having a look at everything on the inside at the moment.
was a huge set, by the way. That thing broke outside of everyone, so this swell is coming in.
Kelly's going to have a dig at this one. Into that first section. Just whipping through that first turn, but he's going to fall on the second approach to the lip. But Slater is leading. It's not out of reach, though, for Matt Wilkinson and Conner Coffin. Wilco's currently counting on a 6.5 as his highest ride. He needs a 6.78 to jump into first. And Conner, he's hung on a priority for about 70% of this heat so far. And he's still chasing a 6.28, so really banking on a decent ride coming his way.
Backhand right here. Again, those fins just have no chance with Wilco. He loves to chuck those things free. They got some rail in the water right there. A couple of nice smooth wraps from him. And he's so vicious, isn't he, Ronnie? Once he winds up, you just can't stop him. He just lashes at the wave. With more power than a Chihuahua. That's not really fair.
A lot more hair than a Chihuahua as well. But here we go. Conner Coffin trying to get himself out of third spot here. Waited a long time for this wave. And so far, he surfed it very well. Just one more section to work with. Really wanted a big tail blow there, but didn't quite get the release off the foam that he was looking for. But I love that second turn.
It's so true. Yeah, he was looking for just a little more spark on that finishing maneuver. But again, it was clean. No mistakes, no bobbles. He mixed it up. So what does he need? He only needs, well, 7.18. That's pretty substantial.
Conner Coffin, who would you compare him to as we look at the replay here?
Oh, kind of a new generation Richard Crown. That might be kind of offbeat, but look at that carve right there. Wow, beautiful snap. Just a little stuck on that maneuver right there, but still clean. He didn't make any mistakes.
But he just has always moved a lot of water.
I think he really enjoys that natural stance he has too. You know, he's got that low center of gravity. He's a shorter guy, even though he's pretty stocky, so he's strong. But he 100% utilizes what he has with his body. He just has so much leverage.
Wilco with a 7.67 and a 6.5 is just ahead of Kelly. Slater chasing a 6.51. Having a look at this one. Big section coming his way. And he's going to step off.
That swell from the eddy arrived in Australia. It is cranking out there. That broke outside the bank. But he's found himself needing a 7.18. So a lot left here at the last 2 minutes.
Well, here goes the current heat leader looking to dispose of a 6.5. A huge backhand snap there. Big vertical approach. Love the way Wilco just drives off the bottom straight up. But still saves a little bit just to unleash those fins. And this one is lining up really well through the inside. Still got some points in it. And Wilco's chasing them down. A big finish. Can he ride out of that last move? Needs to get clear of the foam. Well, I'm not sure how that will look from the judge's angle. But typically they want to see your board get out in front of the foam when you execute a move like that.
That was kind of funky. It was like an 80% made. You know, he kind of fell as he got out in front, as you mentioned. But, you know, I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot, for sure.
He's had only 11% of priority, but he's got a wave here and he's chasing down maybe a big number to get ahead of Matt Wilkinson. But only 11% of priority for Kelly. And he has been the busiest surfer in the lineup. 10 waves ridden. And it's just crushed him a little bit. His chance to connect with a decent wall out there at the moment. Conner Coffin, he had a 7 early on. He held priority for 61% of this heat so far, and he didn't convert his last ride into the score that he needed. So that's cost him in a big way. This guy, on the other hand, 28% of priority and less waves ridden than Kelly, and with the opportunities he's had, has banked some solid numbers.
Yeah, this wave right here was a straight up gift. Technique-wise, I love how, you know, Wilco has one of the better backhand bottom turns on tour. Reminds me a little bit of Mark Occhilupo. Stays really square on that front foot. Really quiet with his front arm. It does look a bit like Occhi.